yet. And at this moment, we're following breaking news. China is raising its retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. to 84%. Beijing said today it has the determination and means to keep fighting if President Trump continues to impose levies on products from China. Dozens of countries are seeing new levies calculated by the White House as half of what other countries charge the U.S., it says. At last night's National Republican Congressional Committee dinner, the president said, quote, "I know what the hell I'm doing," end quote. We're watching what the markets will do today. U.S. stock futures are trending down at this moment, but Asia's markets are mixed given the added tariffs on China. The Nikkei in Japan took the biggest hit, losing almost 1,300 points in trading today. We continue our team coverage now with Weijia Jiang joining us from the White House with more. Weijia, good morning to you. What are you hearing from your sources on dialogue between the White House and specifically China, considering it's just announced its retaliatory number?
Well, Errol, China appears to be the outlier here that is not clamoring for a deal, according to President Trump himself, who says more than 70 nations have already been in touch with the White House to try to start negotiations. And he says that alone shows that his tariffs plan is working. But of course, this escalation with China is incredibly significant, given how much the two nations trade together. But you know, the Chinese have also been very clear, Errol, with a top official saying yesterday that China will fight until the end. And so, as you mentioned, this morning they are responding with an additional 50% tariff on American goods. That's on top of the 34% that they already put into place, which was in response to the U.S.'s 34% of reciprocal tariffs. So it's tough to keep along with all of the math, Errol, but the bottom line is that it's clear that these two countries are not going to blink anytime soon. So it's hard to say just how high these tariffs could get, but Trump doesn't appear to be budging on that one. He does say, though, that other countries, other big trading partners, including Japan and South Korea, are flying here to the U.S. to have trade talks, and that, you know, these deals will be, quote, tailor-made for each country and not off the rack. So he seems optimistic, Errol, that there will be some room to negotiate.
And Weijia, to your point, the president seems optimistic and is touting the fact that other nations are lining up, and he says begging him for a better deal. In the end, though, where does this go? Are we certain that this will result in better economic trading circumstances between the U.S. and China, or could there be some damage long term?
Well, of course, Errol, we are already seeing so much uncertainty and concern from businesses, big and small, and from consumers. And, you know, I just spoke with a manager of an appliance store in Virginia yesterday, and he said the biggest problem is uncertainty. His customers are uncertain about what this means for them. He's uncertain about what it means for long-term business. And when you have all of those questions swirling, it's tough to imagine opening your wallet, right, and shelling out the cash. So that's what he is worried about. President Trump has said over and over again that this is the way to transform American manufacturing, to reset the global order, to liberate the U.S. from a reliance on foreign goods. But that is going to take time. So you ask a great question, Errol. We just don't know how much time, and we don't know in the process of that what kind of damage could be done to the economy.
Yeah, uncertainty certainly pervasive all around. Weijia Jiang with the latest for us from the White House. Thank you, Weijia.
Sure.
CBS News foreign correspondent Anna Coren joins us now from Hong Kong. Good evening to you, Anna. Tell us more about this breaking news out of China, its retaliatory tariff number, and how it calculated the number exactly.
Well, Errol, we were waiting for this. We didn't know when it would come, but certainly China has responded just moments ago, issuing that 84% tariffs on all U.S. goods going into the United States. I mean, you're talking about agricultural products that are going to be hit the hardest. Now, I think what we all need to remember is that 97% of China's economy has nothing to do with the U.S. So if we think that China is reliant on U.S. imports, then we are wrong. China has spent the last 7 years preparing for this moment. And we have heard from Chinese officials who have said that they will not give in. They will not give in to this arrogant bullying, the blackmail that they are seeing coming out of the United States, and that they will stand their ground. So it would seem, Errol, that we have passed the point of getting off this trajectory that we are on, this escalation in the trade war, because they've missed the off-ramp. There is no opportunity at this very point to sit down and hold talks when you have China placing 84% tariffs on all US goods coming into China, and then the United States placing a staggering 104% tariffs on all Chinese goods. So the situation at the moment, it doesn't look like there is any off-ramp at this stage, Errol.
And Anna, you make a great point about China's economy with only 3% tied to US goods. It seems as though this tariff war, in a way, creates an opportunity for the country, especially in nations that the US is raising tariffs on, because the Chinese economy has diversified. They've looked for different countries to export goods to. Help us understand the bigger picture in how China has many options outside the US.
Yeah, China is definitely going to be hitting up its neighbours. It said as much as that today. It's going to look at its neighbours to do more trade. But look, Errol, today we spoke with the chief economist for HSBC for Asia. His name is Fred Newman. And he said that China can ride this out, because I think the perception in the US is that this is going to really hurt China. Yes, it will hurt China, but they are going to stimulate their economy, fiscal stimulus. They're going to boost domestic consumption. These are things that China has been holding back on. You know, I was in Beijing for the National People's Congress back in March, and I think that the feeling from economists and analysts is, why isn't the government doing more to stimulate its economy? Well, the reason it hadn't done anything at that point was because it was waiting. It was waiting for Donald Trump to come with his tariffs, as he had threatened on the campaign trail. And today we have seen it enforced. As of midday today here in Asia, 104% tariffs are hit on Chinese goods entering the US. But speaking to Fred Newman, he would say that China, it can survive without the US market, that in the next couple of years, it will do that. It's going to play the long game. It's not something that China wants to do, but it is prepared to do, which is why we are seeing this act of defiance coming out of Beijing. We know that President Xi met with his leadership team today in Beijing. So they are going to be looking at their neighbours. They're going to be looking at other countries who are allies with the United States to do trade deals. You know, we know that the trade ministers of South Korea, Japan and China met just a few weekends ago. Now, this is something that hasn't been done for 5 years. You know, Japan and South Korea, they are hedging their bets. They know that they need to do trade with China. Other countries are going to do trade with China as well. So this is how they are going to cushion the blow of these US tariffs, Errol.
Remarkable developments from your part of the world. Anna Coren, great to have you with us on this breaking news. Thank you very much. Let's now bring in CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger to help put all of this into perspective for us. Jill, good morning to you. Now that we've seen this number from China at 84% of a retaliatory tariff cumulatively, what does that mean for people watching? They don't actively trade stocks. How might this impact people here in the U.S.?
Well, obviously, when you have a tariff, the importing company pays a fee. The question is, how much of that 104% tariff will a U.S. company pass on to the consumer? So that's the clearest direct line from tariffs to us, the consumers. And I think it's important to note that, you know, we import so much stuff, but in the areas of electronics and fruits and vegetables, and you look at apparel and you look at footwear, everything is coming from different parts of the country, of the world. And to be the other piece of this is the stock market is kind of reflecting this uncertainty and anxiety that you just spoke about. That when you and Weijia were talking, this idea that if you don't know what's going to happen next, either as a consumer or a business owner, it's hard to make any definitive, proactive steps forward. So that's one of the reasons why we are maybe looking at an economy that's going to slow down to a crawl if these tariffs stay in place.
So if we add all that together, Jill, the administration seems pleased that countries want to renegotiate deals. And then we just heard from Anna out of Hong Kong that China is ready to dig in its heels and is in this for the long term. What kind of questions are you receiving from people? I know you have this special on the Daily Report tonight where you'll answer people's questions, but what are we all supposed to do with that uncertainty today?
Well, I think that there are sort of two different levels of questions. One is like, why are we doing this? Like, what's the point? Yeah. And that's a big chunk of questions. And, you know, there have been different answers to that from the administration. So we're going to talk a little bit about perhaps why that tariff question of like, would a tariff encourage a manufacturing facility to become established here in the United States? And, you know, I'm doubtful about that. It just takes a big, long commitment to have that notion. But in our personal financial lives, a lot of people are saying, hey, Jill, Kelly, you guys are talking about the economy slowing down. What if we go into a recession? What should I be doing? And we're going to talk a lot about the actions you should take if you fear that a recession is coming. And of course, we'll field all those investment questions because people are pretty anxious about these last few trading sessions that have been a roller coaster and mostly down.
Yeah, Jill, you're always giving sober advice, so folks should certainly tune in. Jill Schlesinger, thank you very much.